If you can buy as a buyer, buy it as soon as you can. Yes, interest rates are high, but it's not as high as it was 15 years back. It's a cycle. It's a cycle.
Mm.
It'll go up and it'll come down. It shouldn't dictate your life that you want to wait until interest rate goes down, because when it goes down, there would be a lot of competition in the market.
Hi, Amy.
How are you, Debbie, today?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to the Crafting a Business podcast.
Thank you.
How exciting, hey?
It is very exciting for me.
Have you
A little
been on
nervous
the
too.
Oh, don't be nervous. Honestly, don't be nervous. I'm I'm quite friendly, I hope. I hope
Yes,
people think I'm friendly.
it's just my
Well,
first time, so yeah,
well,
I am a little nervous, but let's
amazing.
do this.
Welcome to your first podcast. I'm honored that you've decided to do a podcast with us. Amazing. For those of you who are just joining us, welcome. This is the Crafting a Business podcast. This is season 2. My name's Debbie. I'm your host and the founder of this amazing journey. So how this came to be is that Amy enrolled in a coaching session with me. So I am coached through a digital funded program, which is completely government funded. And I loved Amy's story. So I knew I had to get her on here to talk us through some of this. But Amy, why don't you just tell me a little bit about your business and how you came into this kind of world in terms
Right,
of the business
right.
world and everything like that. Yeah, tell me.
So we call this business Seal the Deal Buyers Agency. Came to this business, that was a interesting story. Came to Australia as a migrant, a very young, cheerful people, worked in banking and finance, which wasn't very cheerful, but yeah, okay, I made it cheerful
Mm,
there. Then the life happened, kind of, bought first house, started family as everybody would do, but then eventually started growing our investment portfolio. And that's when I realized truly where I so much love in real estate was, so much passion was there in real estate. And then since then, banking and finance and investments and everything came together, and here I am being a buyer's agent helping other
amazing.
people do the same thing now.
Amazing. Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't really know what a buyer's agent is. So, and I'm going to play student in this conversation because I bought my first home when I was, how old was I? 25 or something like that, 26 after working full time. But that's the extent of my foray into property. So tell me, for those who are listening, what is a buyer's agent and what does that mean for somebody that is looking to break into this property market?
Right. So a buyer's agent who would actually work for you. So what happens is, we in Australia, we've got so many of this real estate agents. They're called sellers agent. They particularly work for only sellers, not for the buyers. So there's a huge gap in somebody who's representing you as a buyer, where you do get, so the negotiation, the market knowledge and everything is all biased towards the vendors mainly, so you end up
So
paying.
interesting.
Yes. So what happens as a buyer, you don't have nobody to tell you that this could be wrong, or this, you
Mm.
just go and believe in them. And then real estate agents who are working for the vendors, obviously their duty of care is towards the vendors. So they want to
Mm.
get the maximum price for their clients, and then they also want to get rid of that property because they want to,
Mm.
right? They are there to sell, so that's their main job. So they're doing right
Mm.
to their clients, but are you being done right when you are going to go property buying, where the confidence is missing, where the due diligence is missing? So that's where we bridge the gap. Me as a
Mm.
buyer's agent bridge the gap to work towards finding the right solution for you as a buyer.
That's really interesting because I never thought of it in that way, right? So say I want to buy a property, the person on the other end that's answering all my questions, then they don't have my best interest at heart. They have the person that's
Exactly.
selling. That's so interesting. And
Exactly.
it's interesting because it's like yeah, they're selling, they're a salesperson.
they are salesperson, and they may say all the nice things to you, and that make you feel that you really want this property. But do you really want this property? Again, when you go to that selling agent, are they going to tell you what else is in the market which is best for you, which could be best for you? No, because they are there to sell that property, not the other property. Whereas me as a buyer's agent can go anywhere to look for you, and I don't have to buy that particular property for you, right? So I have your best interest
Yeah,
in
that's so interesting. Okay. And then what I think you kind of mentioned in your when you first started this whole business world and you were working in banking and finance, and then what happened to make you become a buyer's agent? Like, was there a particular story that happened where, you wanted to cut through all of this, and yeah, so tell me a little bit about that. What makes you want to work in this space?
Yes, what happened was, I was working in banking and finance, so was my husband. We had enough of equity. We had bought our first home ages ago and things like that. We had a lot of equity in hand. However, we were not sure about the process in Australia, how we could make
Mm,
our money work more to us for ourselves, rather than we putting our time, trading our time to money. So after building our investment portfolio, we decided that there is a lot of other people. I decided a lot of my kind of people are still doing the same, trading their time to money and not putting money to work, or equity credibility to work the way it should be. So I saw there was a bit of a knowledge gap in
mm.
or awareness gap. So we decided to educate our friends, family around us, and that's where it, it
That's
all
yeah.
started.
I love that. Like my business is in the e-commerce space, and I totally started in the same way. Not to the same knowledge as you, obviously. Like, I started literally by just sharing what I was learning, right? And then friends and family jumped on board, and they kind of was like, "Hey, how do you do that?" you know. And it's really lovely that that's what we have in common. That's how our kind of businesses
Yeah.
started. Yeah. But tell me, like in this day and age, what makes you excited about helping people find their dream home or finding their next property or the right property? Because as you mentioned, like the salesperson, the real estate agent will tell you what you want to hear, right? So how do you know what is the right property for you, and what is the most exciting part about that when you're helping people?
So what is right property? That is what we go through. So I go through their process of knowing their life, knowing their goals, and then suggesting what could be great for them as
Mm,
an investment, or as a property to live in, say home to live in, their family
mm,
farm, right? So
mm,
it is very, very much client focused, where I'm not looking to
mm.
sell something that is already there. I am looking for particularly only for them, which is what is correct for them. So that's the main thing. What did you ask? What excites me the most?
Yeah, what excites you about that? About fight, like how do you know it's the right place? you know what excites you about that process? Yeah.
Yeah, the process. Oh, I go through like thousands of property in a week. If you tell me those, that's how we come to know what could suit them and not, if it is investment or it is not. And seeing that joy and relief and excitement in their eyes when they see that it has actually happened. I'll tell you a story of one of the client that I've served, Mr. MNS. Let's keep it that way.
Okay,
I don't
that's
want
a
to
code
say
word. That's a code word. M&S.
M&S. They've been searching for the property for almost a year, not getting through. So they go to bank, they say, okay, this is done, you can go look for the properties. They were not making any decisions and things like that. Ultimately, they had few constraints over their budget and their settlement times and things like that. So
Mm,
to overcome that, they kept doing that, not reaching any goals. They came to us, and within, I think, 6 or 7 weeks, we got them the right property with the terms and conditions that suited exactly the way they wanted, with a lot under their budget as well. So they did
mm,
not have to spend anything extra. They were way too happy about all these. and it was a tight budget and everything. But what they've got right now is they're a raving fan of ours, and now they keep referring the clients just because the way we communicated, the way we found the property for them, the way I connected with them, was the biggest thing for them. So they're like
Mm.
raving friends. They are telling everybody to use a buyer's agent now because that's
Yeah.
how they've felt so much value they saw in the thing.
That's such a nice story. Like, to have raving fans that because you know what, like real estate agents, I mean, you hear bad things about them, right? So, and then you just assume that real estate agents are the only people in property. In terms of my experience with it, right? You don't know that there is a person that is on your side,
Yes.
So, and it's nice to hear that this M&S code word, M&S, Mr. M&S, is such a fan. Like, tell me more about the whole. I think you said they were searching for a whole year and nothing,
Yes, they
and
were
then in six
searching
weeks
for.
they had an answer. That's amazing.
Yes, they faced several challenges, as I said
Mm.
before, that they had constraint in budget, and then they had
Mm.
some settlement issues. So they wanted to stay with the schooling and this and that to
Oh,
manage
okay.
all those little things. So I kind of went to pretty much everything with them, what they wanted, what schools they would prefer to go to, and things like that eventually. And the way we did the whole transaction was I had to rent it back to the vendor for 6 months. But if that deal didn't happen,
Yeah.
by the time they went into this place, they have already increased in equity of 50K in on that property without even living there, and they were getting paid rent already on that. So they were earning already.
Wow. Okay. So it
Was
sounds to me like, there was a certain situation and they had certain criteria and they couldn't find something that will fit in with all of that criteria. But it's because of your knowledge and because, you actually have taken the time to understand what those must-haves are, and you were able to find a solution, which it's
that's
actually thinking a little bit outside the box, right? Like I would never have thought about the whole renting to somebody else and all that. Like, no?
Exactly. So when they
Mm.
came to us, they said, okay, we are looking to buy the house, but it can be in next year, December. So there's 9 months of gap. But if we waited 9 months, we wouldn't have bought that place because the prices were
Would
growing
have
that
gone.
high.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
stressful.
So all that taking into consideration, that is what the client focus means to us, that we give our all the knowledge and expertise are like forced into that particular client. All the energy goes there, and then we come up with a strategy that how can we make this happen.
Mm. I kind of love that though. Like, especially with real estate agents, sometimes I feel like I mean, they have an answer for everything. And I go back to real estate agents because again, I don't know anything about your area and your skill set, and the only interaction I've had with property is, in that with a real estate agent being on the other side. But I imagine it's quite overwhelming, this process. Like, especially for somebody who's been shopping for a year and still not finding anything. It must be quite overwhelming about this property buying process. But can you tell me a little bit about how you made M&S feel, Mr. M&S? And tell me, to condense down a whole year of work into 6 months, that's huge. So tell me a little bit about the process and what you did to kind of make him feel less overwhelmed, him, her, because that bit I think is really, really valuable, for anybody that's listening, that's kind of in this listening and in this kind of space. Tell me a little bit about that.
6 weeks it was.
6 weeks, sorry, 6 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, so first we sat down for a few times to understand their lifestyle, to understand what they are requiring, what are their must-haves, what are their non-negotiables and negotiables, what's the budget they will have to work with, how long they're going to be living in this property and then looking to do something else and things like that. So that was the process. So we sat down, we
Mm.
made a brief, then we do the location analysis according to the budget and everything, that this could be fitting you, sort of a thing.
Mm.
Then we came up with the certain areas and then looked for a lot of properties in that 6 weeks. So yes, they did not look for that, but I did.
You did, yeah.
And the negotiation also would only I mean, they were not confident enough to do this kind of negotiation
Mm.
to to certain level, because renting it back and getting it under the budget and things
Mm.
like that, so that requires a lot of strong negotiation skills as well, which they were crazy about. They were not ready to accept that this is all happening.
Mm. I
But
love that.
so very happy,
And
so
that
very happy.
that skill set, like it seems to me, you said a couple things here. You said negotiation skills, you said research skills. Like all of this scares me, right? It scares me. I can't go and negotiate with somebody that's a salesperson that, that has a rebuttal for everything that that I would ask. So it's almost as if like you've got a couple of not only skill set, but experience, like a different types of experiences. I often say when I do digital coaching, I often say I feel like a bit of a doctor, right? Because the person that comes in for coaching comes in and they say, hey, I've got this symptom, this problem, this issue, and then because I've done the research and because I'm living and breathing this whole digital thing, it's like, which tool am I pulling out today? Right? Do you resonate with this? Because I feel
Oh,
like sometimes,
100%,
yeah,
100%,
okay, yeah.
100%, that we have a lot of tools or a lot of expertise as a skill set,
Mm,
that which one would be used more today and less on the other day, sort of a thing. So
mm.
at times they come with certain areas, though, that doesn't give me too much of, I don't have to do too much of a location analysis, but I still have to do too much of research inside the suburbs to tell them why it is good and why it is not so good, sort of a thing.
Wow, you must have like a massive search history or something, right? Like is realestate.com like your favorite
No, no.
website or something?
Yes, I sleep on it. I have to say that. Like,
Oh,
that's my favorite time pass as well.
yes, that's so. I love that because like my weird obsession is TikTok and social media and all that, but because I have to be right. And it's funny. The other day we did a exercise at BNI actually, which I didn't mention, but Amy is part of BNI as well. But I in my referral request, I said to everybody, "Hey, get your phone out and tell me what your screen time is." Right? My screen time was like 8 hours or something crazy.
Yeah.
And then everyone was kind of like, oh, there's a bit of judgment there because some people like under 4 hours, some people like over. Anyway, it gives you the breakdown in terms of this, like where you're spending the time. So mine is social media. Yours would be realestate.com. I love it.
Mine is, that's correct. It just came here this morning. 5 hours I was spent just on phone on a weekly basis on an average on
Yeah.
real estate. And there is other thing as well.
I love that though, because it kind of shows that you really are invested. Invested, that's a bit of a pun, hey? But invested in like getting your client the best thing, and that sounds a bit typical. It sounds a bit typical, right? But it's true. Like, you want to be able to do the best that you can. And that kind of leads into my next question about like where do you research? Where do you find the latest information about real estate? And like how are you constantly trying to be up to date? Like, are you speaking to real estates? Are you,
I
yeah, tell me about that.
As I said, yeah, all these hours going into real estate, and then I also do physical inspections of the properties around the specific areas that I always do. And I keep myself updated with all
Mm,
the news, all the core logic, all of the
mm,
research data that we use, all the platforms. So we read a lot.
mm,
We have to also keep us up to date in regards to what is Reserve Bank going to do, because interest rates, that is going to affect so much to our industry and everything. So yeah, you have to keep yourself really updated on everything. So I
yeah.
have a lot of mortgage brokers, real estate agents, solicitors. We on a regular basis, we keep talking. We have the groups meetings and things like that. So
Mm. So
yeah.
those of you who are listening, today is the 14th of October, and I'm not sure when this podcast will go live, but we're in a stage where cost of living crisis is crazy right now, and my own how it affects me is that I run an e-commerce store, but largely crafting is my bread and butter, right? But it's a hobby, right? So, and if people can't pay their mortgage, then of course they're not going to spend money on hobbies, right? And I completely understand that, right? Like this is the day and age of how things are meant to be. And I know, they're saying next year, is that the latest information? Next year, hopefully the rates will go down. I don't know. But how do you navigate that? Yeah, fingers crossed. But how do you navigate that? Like, are you finding that a lot of people aren't buying or they're buying more? Or, tell me a little bit about that because I don't know enough about interest rates and all this stuff. And I'd love for you to, kind of educate us.
If you can buy as a buyer, buy it as soon as you can.
Mm.
That's the thing. Yes, interest rate are high, but it's not as high as it was 15 years back. I think when I bought my first house, the interest rate was 7.5% or something. So
Oh,
it's not as
okay.
high, and it's a cycle. It's a cycle.
Mm.
It'll go up and it'll come down. So it shouldn't dictate your life in a way. Yes, affordance level is one thing,
Mm.
but it shouldn't dictate your life that you want to wait until interest rate goes down, because when it goes down, there would be a lot of competition in the market. And
Gosh.
everybody's going to buy then. So you're not going to make any better decisions there. If you find the right place to live or right place to invest, if the numbers stack up, do it now.
That's great advice. And that's really interesting. Like you would think that, oh, we'll just wait a little bit, but then the prices go up. So then why did you wait? Like, that's the thought process
And
in
then
my head, I
your
think.
affordance level may not be growing that fast. So
Yeah,
you also have
okay.
remember the M&S situation that I just told you?
Yeah, yeah.
They had waited that 6 to 8 months. Then when they actually wanted to use their home, they wouldn't have bought that place for sure, because the
Mm.
price grew about 70K in that 9 months. Their bank wouldn't give them that much money.
Wow. So there's so many things that have to almost the stars have to align in so many ways. you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's almost like a puzzle, right? Like, do you have all the right pieces or, like, yeah, it sounds confusing. To be honest, I'm exhausted like thinking about it. Kudos to you for
There is
doing this
a lot.
because you must love it. Like
I
clearly.
love it. I love it. As you breathe in your digital solutions thing, I breathe in properties in and out every day, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and I can see that. I can like, you have to love it. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to do all the research and all the knowledge. Your head must be just, sometimes people think my head's exploding in the same way, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
But let me kind of bring this back. Like if somebody's listening to the podcast and decided, hey, a buyer's agent sounds like an amazing thing that I need, right? If you could give one piece of advice to someone considering using that buyer's agent, what would that be?
Look for the right one who can connect with you, who can understand your needs, and they not treat you as a number.
Mm.
And if you've decided to use the buyer's agent, that is a biggest step by itself,
Mm.
because you have somebody, you're hiring a professional to do something for you, which is who's expert in doing something, right? So
Mm.
that kudos to you on that decision itself. And then connect with somebody who shares the same values as you, or shares the same kind of vision that you have for your future, so that you can relate, connect well.
Mm.
That's what
And yeah, and I kind of love that. Like deciding that you need a buyer's agent in the first place is probably the biggest decision that you'll
it
make.
is the biggest.
Realizing, yeah, I can't do this. Like yeah, and then
That's
getting
the
confident
biggest
in that.
misconception that is prevailing right now, that I can do it on my own and I save money. However, the
Are you really though?
it
Are you really
is
saving
it,
money? Yeah,
are you really saving money? Are
yeah,
you really saving money if you are putting your Saturdays in
yeah,
going to inspections and auctions for a year? That is 52 of them.
yeah.
52.
God.
It-
I
I'm
do not
only
find that
saying one
enjoyable.
year. I'm only saying one year. I
Yeah,
have had people who has done that for
love it.
more than that.
Yeah, yeah,
More than
yeah.
that.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's true actually. How many times have you, how long have you decided? Like so when we were looking for this house, it took us a good year, and we weren't even going to, inspections every week. We were just kind of like, is it happening? Is it not?
Yeah, your
But I think,
priorities
yeah,
change.
mm,
And the opportunity cost is huge in this
yeah,
industry. So
yeah.
that is what you're missing out is the opportunity. So
The exchange, yeah, yeah. It's
it's
like, are you
not just
exchanging
time and
time?
money, it's also opportunity,
Yeah.
where people taking action have made so much money just in equity by having somebody on board. And
Yeah.
even in negotiation, you save so much money. So
Yeah, totally.
I've got
I would
examples of saving somebody 50K on it just on an negotiation. So yes, if you,
tell me about that. How did you save someone 50K? Tell me.
so this was only this wasn't even these clients, they didn't even take the full service. They knew what they
Mm,
wanted to buy, so this was just evaluating and negotiating service. I definitely do the due diligences, because otherwise you cannot do the evaluation of the property. So I did the
mm,
due diligence for them, and it was just evaluating the property, and then we saw what else is in the market, why it is there, and ended up saving them 52K on a property, which, and they were overwhelmed. There is a Google review if you want to ever read.
mm,
They were overwhelmed with this, that it wouldn't have happened. They were so prepared to give that money that they were asking. The real estate agent was asking, and I was like, give me a week.
mm,
Within a week, such favorable terms and conditions, and 52K saved. It
mm.
was overwhelming for
Amazing.
everybody.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, this has been a great chat. Not only selfishly, I've been educated, selfishly, but I wanted to end with one last question. You've talked about Mr. M&S and you've talked about 52K person, right? But is there the most rewarding experience that you've kind of come across? Is there a number one client that you kind of come across as a buyer's agent, and what was the outcome? And more importantly, I mean, I know the client would be happy, but how did you feel? How did you feel about accomplishing some of that? That's what I want to know. Yeah.
Yes. So it's actually extraordinary feeling when you see somebody, client, become emotional and teary eyed with happiness, and when their dreams are coming true, right? But one of these moments I remember where I got sent regards and blessings from somewhere overseas. So one of the clients, their parents are sending me all these good things and blessings, where we have made difference in somebody's life
Mm,
so nicely, that they go and talk to the everybody, and everybody there knows me, like, okay, you bought it with Amy, she did this, and that feels so good. That makes me teary already, even now.
mm. And that's like you can't buy that, you know, you
And
can't buy that.
yeah,
And the fact that
no
you've
money will.
literally changed somebody's life, like just by doing what you love, like that's I'm getting chills, like, you know, yeah. And I love meeting people like that that understand their why and understand your like why do you do what you do, and it's come from a place of experience, and all you want to do is nurture that, right? So, and I'm really grateful for this chat. So thank you, Amy, for spending the time with us. You know, how do people find you? If people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Go to LinkedIn profile, please connect with me. LinkedIn profile, I also have Facebook, Insta, and my website too.
Amazing. And I'll make sure that all those details are in this podcast as well if people want to reach out to you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Amy, for the time. This has been another episode of the Crafting a Business podcast. Thank you, Amy, again. This has been a great chat. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.